Hare Krishna devotees. Today's shloka for the day is the 17th shloka of chapter 7. Tesham jnani nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnani notyartham aham sacha mama priyah. Tesham jnani nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnaninotyartham aham sacha mama priyah. Tesham jnani nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnaninotyartham aham sacha mama priyah. Word for word meaning and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Tesham, out of them. Jnani, one in full knowledge. Nitya yuktaha, always engaged. Eka, only. Bhaktihi, in devotional service. Vishishyate, is special. Priyaha, very dear. He, certainly. Jnaninaha, to the person in knowledge. Atyartham, highly. Aham, I am. Saha, he. Cha, also. Mama, to me. Priyaha, dear. Translation. Of these, the only one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him, and he is dear to me. So here, the Lord is stating that out of the four that he has talked about, who approach him, perhaps not out of love, but out of getting something in return. So out of these four, the Lord says, the person who develops knowledge about the transcendental truths is someone who becomes very dear to him, and vice versa. So even though these four individuals may be contaminated with material desires, who are these four individuals or the types of personalities that pray to Krishna? Those who are under distress, those who are inquisitive, those who are penniless, and those who are actually seeking some supreme knowledge. All of them can become pure devotees. But out of all four of them, any one of them who develops their knowledge of the absolute truth and becomes free from all material desires in the process actually becomes a very pure devotee of the Lord. So that devotee who is in full knowledge and is at the same time engaged in devotional service is, the Lord says, the best. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that when one starts acquiring this spiritual knowledge, the first thing is that one realizes that his self is different from his material body. And when he further advances a little bit more in this knowledge, he understands that there are three features of the Supreme Lord. He may be attracted to the Brahman feature of the Supreme Lord. And later on, he understands that the Lord also resides within him as Paramatma. However, when this particular devotee becomes fully purified, he realizes his actual constitutional position, which is to be the servant of the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada writes, of these four kinds of pious people, if any one of them comes in contact with a pure devotee, all of them become pure, simply by association. So, His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, I was reading some of his purports or explanations on this particular shloka. So he was stating that this particular verse is not talking about a jnani. this particular verse is not talking about those who follow the path of studying the Vedic scriptures. This is just stating that someone, any one of these four, who develops that complete knowledge, has that faith, and develops some love and attraction for Krishna, that person can become a pure devotee, where a bond of love develops between Bhagavan and Bhakta. And quite often, this particular analogy is used by acharyas. When wood is dry, it is able to catch fire immediately. Similarly, when you are bereft of material desires, then similarly, your heart can get attracted to Krishna very easily. Therefore, your heart becomes ablaze with love for Krishna. And we discussed an example of the Sanat Kumaras, that when they get the fragrance of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, that attracted them so much that they moved forward in the process of simply surrendering to Krishna. So that is the essence of today's shloka, where the Lord is saying that those who are always engaged in pure devotional service, which is derived from understanding who the Supreme Lord is. Hence the Lord is saying, full knowledge, such person is the best, and therefore such a person, such a pure devotee becomes very dear to the Lord, and similarly, the Lord also becomes very dear to the devotee.